Good afternoon, Piccia. How are you?
Good afternoon, Nathan. I'm
We're
really
going to
well.
do
How
this
are
in a
you?
terribly British way today. We're going to do UI and UX with the pinky finger engaged.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. And sounds like you are as well. We're here. It is Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Tuesday, 27th of September, 2022. And that is Piccia Neri, who is going to talk to us about several sites. We do this semi. The idea is we do it monthly, but we kind of haven't kept to that, have we?
We
But
try. Well,
yeah,
I have to say, it's been your summer of gallivanting around the world, Nathan.
it's not
And
right.
no, it's absolutely right. I am delighted that you did that. And I am grateful for the opportunity to use the word gallivanting. Am I pronouncing
Oh,
it right? It's
yes.
one
No,
of those things,
gallivanting. Gallivanting is where you sort
gallivanting.
of like
I think I only have a
frolic and
frolic.
have a jolly good time. Yeah.
And while on a slightly wandering jaunt. So well done, Nathan. I
Oh, thank
applaud
you.
that.
Thank you. Back in
Yeah.
the UK, back in the cavern, back in the sort of triangular room. Oh, the other way, triangular room that I live in, basically. So we've got a couple of sites for you. Just to give you a bit of a background on this, Piccia is really into graphic design. Actually, do you just give us the very, very brief history of how you've come to do things like this?
Are you sure,
Oh, the really
Nathan?
brief
Are
one,
you
like the
absolutely
oh,
sure?
go on.
Right. So
I'll set the clock. Go.
I used to be a designer for print, book design, art books. Then I became, which is important because the organization, magazines did a lot of editorial design, magazine design, Sunday Times magazine, all this. Then moved to the web, and then was a purely creative designer, which is a lot of fun. And then I moved to the web, and then I sort of specialized in UX design because where would we be without it? But my
Right.
background is very much UI, and I like both. I find that understanding how the experience works is essential as well. And I think that you can be a hybrid. Here I am.
Mm.
Hi,
Perfect.
hybrid.
Well, thank you. That was great. You were well under the 1 minute mark. That was absolutely perfect.
I'm relieved.
Just in case you are watching this live and you wish to get some of your friends and companions in, feel free to share it. The easiest way to do that is to go to wpbuilds.com/live. It should be playing there now. So you could copy and paste that, wpbuilds.com/live, stick it in your Twitter and stick it in your Facebook and, see if people want to come along. If you want to make commentary and you're in our Facebook group, then you need to go to this URL. It's chat.restream.io/FB. And it's in the top, hopefully, if the comments are working. I do have a feeling, Piccia, that Restream, the platform that we're using, are having problems with Facebook. I got an email today to say as much. And so I don't know if that's going to be working or not. But thank you for anybody that's joining us. Courtney Robertson is here, which is kind of apropos, perfect, in fact. Thank you, Courtney, for joining us because it is your endeavours that Peach is going to look at first. Shall we kick right off?
Let's do it, I say, Nathan. So I am honored and delighted to actually have a look at Learn WordPress, which is not something that we never do unsolicited reviews, do we, Nathan?
No.
Because there is very few things in the world that are as annoying as unsolicited advice. So
You're not wrong.
I have been asked by Courtney, who is in a position to ask for this. So let me just say that what we do here. Is that Facebook user? I feel like we've got Mr. Lee Jackson on the show, Nathan.
Well, it says
Even
Peach's
though it
eyes
says-
on my. Oh, sorry, I should put the comment up.
That's it. Peach's eyes on my website would be super appreciated.
Okay,
Lee, I don't know if we've got time this week, but maybe next month. But maybe next month is too late. So maybe we'll do it. We'll see if we can squeeze it in.
Let's
Lee.
see if we can squeeze it in. Thanks, Lee, for joining us. That's great.
Thank you, Lee, for joining us. It says Facebook user for us, but we know it's you.
We know it's you.
We know. Oops. Didn't mean to do that, but I've done it. So, yes. So just to explain, Courtney, if you haven't seen this before, I explained it to you privately. Fun ways of recruiting contributors by unashamedly asking folks with their specific skills for their professional recommendations. Very clever, Courtney. Yes, indeed. So what I do in this, obviously, this is a show. We do a few websites. So I do a sort of bird's eye view. There's nothing that's in depth, but also I usually, I mean, obviously I know this a little bit. I had a poke around, but I don't normally have much of a poke around, because my aim is to see how does a user feel like it the first time that they land on a site. Obviously, I land a bit more of a I hesitate applying the word expert to myself, but a bit more of a conscious eye. But the aim is to reproduce the experience. So literally, I haven't looked at this much. The first thing that I noticed, and I'm very happy to see this, is that I checked. I'm not using a VPN, so I'm definitely in Spain, which is where I live. The other day, I can't remember who I was looking at it with. Not you, Nathan, but I was.
No, I don't believe it was me. No.
It must have been someone else. I was moaning because all the menu, everything apart from vital stuff on the page were in Spanish, and it looked. I mean, I speak Spanish very well, but it was very confusing to me, because I was geo-localized, but only for parts of the site, because it's not all translated. And there was nowhere. I was just desperately looking everywhere where to change the language, and there was nowhere to change the language. And this has been changed, because I'm not on a VPN. I checked, and where's the menu? Okay, here, and it's all in English. So that's good. Thanks, because it wasn't good UX. Because, I mean, the whole localization thing is a bit of it's a thorny issue. It's not that simple. However, never force anything on the user. Basically, if you give me localized navigation, give me a chance to change it if I want to, because I could be visiting Spain and I could not speak a word of Spanish. You know what I mean? So that's great. That's the first thing that I would have moaned about, but I can't moan about it.
Courtney's fixed it.
I can't moan about it because it's been fixed. So great. Now, the first thing that I do is I always do this, the Wave tool, which is a WebAim, powered by WebAim. It's a web accessibility evaluation tool that is by no means perfect. There's lots of stuff that it picks up on, and there's lots of stuff that it doesn't pick up on as well. But I use it as a conversation starter, and because it does give you quite a few nice indications. So the contrast issues are basically checks whether there are bits of the interface where the color contrast doesn't work. And funnily enough, often it's the WordPress dashboard that gives serious problems. So even though it says there are 8, so which one is this? Very low contrast, but I can't tell what it is, because
So is that the menu? Is that the menu that you were looking at originally that you were hoping would be translated, I wonder? Is it?
So no, I'm just gonna take other stuff out so we only see the contrast. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so that's easy. It's easier to see when it's got everything. Then it's easier. It tells you. So basically, it's this white on the blue. The thing is that when was I saying this? I just can't remember what I do and when I do it. But WebAim does a yearly report on the state of accessibility on the web, and it's so interesting because the way they communicate it is very easy to understand, even if you're not a data person. And they look at the 1 million top websites in the world out of 4 or 5 of the top indexes, Alexa's, all those ones. So it's the top sites in the world. It's not the shitty little grocery shop on the corner. Sorry, it's not shitty, the grocery shop. Sorry, grocery shop. I always had the most amazing grocery corner shops. So sorry if I said that. And for one of them, I made the site. So I take it all back. But basically, a whopping 96.5% of the home pages of the top 1 million websites in the world have a million accessibility issues. So, and a whopping 83.9% totally right. Lee says, I love our corner shop. Glad you took that one back. Corner shops are the I miss not having a corner shop in Spain. Anyway, so yes, I was saying, so 83.9%, I think, of homepages have color contrast issues. Now, that is shocking, but at the same time, it's very reassuring, because guess what? Color contrast issues are the easiest to sort. It's really, really easy to sort. And so just sorting out the color contrast issues, you've put yourself on top of 84% of the top 1 million pages in
I'm
the world.
curious.
So
Could I just
it's a really
quickly
easy
interrupt?
win. Yes,
Because I just
please.
want to ask Courtney a question, if she's still with us. It feels to me like the white on the blue there, it feels to me like that's almost like a WordPress branding. In that I see that blue,
point.
and I don't know if it's that exact shade of blue, but I wonder if Courtney's got constraints around that, because it does feel like I've seen that exact version of blue on so many WordPress.org and what have you properties. So I'm just curious, and it's interesting that WebAim threw that color combination up as a problematic one.
Well, it is problematic, because even though it hasn't, I don't think it's picked up. Has it picked up anything up here? So it hasn't picked this up or this
Interesting.
up.
Just on a button, was it?
To me, it's the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I don't really see it that well. I mean, it's got 0 errors in terms of everything else, and the structure is sound, absolutely sound. So that's great. Obviously, it's done by great people, or some really, I know, first of all, this is done by volunteers mostly. Some are sponsored, but and in the second place, people work really hard at this, and they're great people doing it. So, I lend a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
a couple of comments from Courtney
palette,
quickly. She says, yeah, it's part of the WP design palette. And then she follows that up with still meeting accessibility is a huge goal. Okay.
I feel that here we can check with a contrast checker, but I am basically certain that the color is fine. The color is probably fine. It's the size and the thinness of the typeface, because here I'm wearing glasses, but at 100% normal size page, I struggle to read it. And when it goes this small, I really struggle. And not to mention the menu is really, I definitely would do this. Which you can say, okay, just do that. It's available to do, so you could do that. But I think it's a little bit of a struggle. And then, so that's with the even when, if you want to be really accessible, you have to sort of go a little bit further, because I'm sure that if I check the contrast checker, it will give it will say that the contrast in terms of color is correct. But I would consider that. Also, this is something, Nathan, what am I going to say now?
You're going to say that the text underneath the words Learn WordPress is aligned center when it should be aligned left.
So it's
in fact, in all of it, the whole page is aligned
center. The whole page is centered. Yeah. So, and I understand why, but really, I struggle with this. People tease me, and they're right, because I always mention that centered. I mean, I'm even with clients, I do this thing, which is the one-liner, which is, if I want the ideal world statement applied to your business. I want to live in a world where, and mine is, I was actually saying that yesterday with Michelle Frechette. I was asking hers, and mine was, I want to live in a world where nobody ever uses centered text anymore. Because, and to give you an example, one of the original ones is Bill Gates in 1978, who said, I want to live in a world where there's a computer in every home, which I'm sure in 1978 seemed like science fiction, but he wasn't selling computers. But in his vision of the world, for his software and so on, that was part of the vision. So to me, that's part of the vision, because that means that, I mean, honestly, if you have, if you're neurodivergent, you've got focus issues or ADHD issues and things like that, center text is really problematic. And I've heard from partially sighted people, not so much, I'm not sure here. I don't want to say something that isn't correct, but anyway, it's a real problem for partially sighted people as well, because you have no anchor. Your eyes left to wander along the edges. Lee has been on the receiving end of this so many times.
Yeah, Lee, first of all, a couple of comments that come in. Maya Longcar from GoDaddy. Hello, Maya. Nice to have you with us. She says,
Hi,
yeah,
Maya.
maybe the design palette needs a little bit of a touch. And then Lee has said he feels so conscious about center text if he has ever used it. He has an imaginary picture tutting at me if I press the center button.
Please cancel me if I ever tut at everybody, at anybody. Please just never let me do that. So, and it looks untidy. It just doesn't look tidy to me. To me, the first rule of graphic design, if you do nothing else, I would align. It's just something that I would do because it immediately makes it look tidier. Here, there's no real alignment. So also you've got this tool, which is alignment guides the eye, and it guides people to take the action that you want them to take. So why not use it? Also, this is in English, which is a Western language, and we start from the left. So why not use that? There are so many good things that happen when you start aligning properly. I am a big fan of that. Honestly, if you do nothing else, align, and you will already improve a layout.
Can I just quickly ask, because I know that we've covered this before, see at the top where it says Learn WordPress, and directly underneath that is center aligned text, which at the moment covers 4 lines. How many words is the sort of recommended amount? Maybe it's not words, maybe it's a pixel width, or my understanding is it's something like 12 words per line or something like that typically.
It's characters, and I think it's depends really if you're on mobile, or I think it's I usually don't do more than 65, but I prefer shorter. It depends. Okay. It's characters. I think this is kind of there. I don't think it's an issue, but really depending on, I also, what happens to me is that I see the shape. I don't see the text. I struggle to read because I see a shape here. I always see like a vase. Sometimes it's a heart. Sometimes it's a face.
Yeah.
So I don't see, and people with dyslexia have a real issue with this. So, and it also, I think this is Open Sans, and I don't know whether it's again, it's a WordPress guideline, which is absolutely fine, but it's very, very thin. So there's a friend of mine who also was speaking at WordCamp Europe this year. His name is Vicente Sanchez, and he's a scientist of vision, and he's into web accessibility. And his talk at WordCamp Europe was about color contrast. And I always consult him now, and sometimes it's really painful because there's a typeface that I love, and he goes, not good enough, because he does tests with it that maybe sometimes he uses Photoshop to blur it to simulate a specific vision issue that maybe we're not aware of. And he goes, that's too thin. That line there is 1 pixel. It's not going to be visible by someone who has, I don't remember all the. So there's these things to bear in mind.
So in effect, you're saying there that let's say, for example, when I've been swimming or something and I come out of the pool and I've got that sort of chlorinated vision, and everything is just modestly more blurred than it normally is.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to read, everything is almost like you've dripped water on a printed page, and the ink has sort of spread a little bit. The thicker the font, the less problematic that is. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right.
I am saying that, but also another thing to bear in mind is that this typeface, if I go closer into it, as you can see, it's every bit is exactly the same width. So there's the width of the line never changes. This is good and not good for certain things, but not so good for others, because it makes some letters look very. There's no contrast difference. It's a no contrast typeface. So this means that the letters are a little bit more difficult to recognize. That's why serif typefaces are sometimes said to be easier. There's no real guarantee that they actually are. But So for instance, this is a typeface where the L is like an I. It's exactly the same. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
And let me just check, because another thing to look at is the P and the B and the D. So they are different. You have to look. If I
Yes, they are different, aren't they?
if
Yeah.
I flip them, are they the same or not? Because if you have dyslexia, that's a problem. But anyway, because we've only been talking about the UI. So another thing, so this is kind of good for me, or this, just about this size.
Yeah.
So what I also look at when I look at the UX web page, the first thing that I look at is, what do you want me to do first? So here, because your call to action here is this search bar is search for a learning resource. But if I put myself in the shoes of someone who's never been on this page before, is how am I going to search? How do I know what to search for? It's a bit, I'd be really interested to see whether you've got any analytics on this page that show you, or a heat map or something that shows you whether people use this and when. They probably do use it, but what do they put in? Because I would find it confusing, and I am an expert user of WordPress. By the way, I want to say that I remember when I started learning WordPress, I think I set up my first drawing blog. It was a drawing blog, and I think it was 2008, 2009. And it was so hard to learn. The only thing were the never-ending documents, and I just couldn't work out what it meant. So I'm so grateful for this resource now. So that's my point. Do people use this? Courtney is saying the team would love some data like that. I'm sure they would. But is this the best thing? What do you actually want people to do? You want them to go and learn. So I can see here that there are two different things. One is tutorials to learn. I guess this is for learners. And one is lesson plans. So this is for teachers. So it's almost as if now you've got two target audiences for this page, which is absolutely fine, but not so maybe differentiate. I don't know. It's interesting. Let's say, and I don't have an opinion on it yet, actually, but just interesting. So if I were a relative newbie to WordPress, I would probably look at this, search for a learning research, and I would go, how do I look? Unless I know, let's say that I know, I want to learn about custom post types. I want to see how the search works. So lesson plan, tutorial, customizing your post content layout doesn't actually tell me. So the rest are all lesson plans. So therefore tutorial, and there's like loads of pages. There's 5 pages. So it looks like it would be great if one could perhaps differentiate the search, because if I am a WordPress newbie, okay, 4 content types on the site, Courtney is saying: lesson plans, tutorials, courses, and online workshop. So I guess that okay, so that menu has come up now. Did you see that? So I'm just gonna.
No, I didn't. I confess.
This is it: tutorials, online workshops, courses, lesson plans.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Where
that
was that?
the online workshops, I see them coming up. They're set up as meetups, I think, and there are so many that I want to take part in because I'm like, oh, I need to learn that, but they're in time zones that I can't. So are they actually recorded? Because, for instance, reusable blocks and things like that. These are the creative side of blocks, but it's at 10 p.m. See, it's coming up as 10 p.m. for me. So are they ever recorded? Is what I'm wondering. Because it doesn't look, if I go into online workshops here, I can sign up to one, but I can't watch one. Yes, and replays on WordPress TV from all online workshops.
Isn't this
So
great
again,
having Courtney here, like getting actual
fantastic.
feedback at the time?
I mean, you've
It's
got to
perfect.
love her.
Thank you, Courtney.
It is. But then again, it's good to have you, but and we'd like to more presenters in more locales, including languages. Yeah. But it's nowhere here. It doesn't say anywhere that that's where I can find it, because yes, I'd love to be able to watch them. So I don't know whether they should be here, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
a link on
or
that
maybe it's
page to the
because they're
prior ones.
videos.
Yeah.
So now is where I am. So in the previous page, actually, but maybe I would have got that if because I decided to go for search, but if I go to browse tutorials, then I get this. Okay, so this is cool. I like this.
Where did you find browse tutorials?
Yeah, it's on the homepage. Oh, see, that's
Okay.
so confusing. That is really confusing. I've done this before, so I know the mistake. But if I'm in Learn WordPress, let's say that I'm in just Learn WordPress. This is it, which is the landing page for the project, for the Learn WordPress project. But if I go somewhere else, then I want to go here because I think that this is the logo for the Learn
Right.
WordPress page, but it's
Right.
not. So
That
how do
goes
I
back to
get back?
WordPress.org. Right.
It does, yeah. So how, if I'm somewhere else, how do I go back to the landing page? So the landing page is from here, Nathan. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first call, we looked at the first call to action, which is here, and then I wanted to look at here, tutorials. So see,
Also,
there are,
you mentioned it earlier, the menu. So if you're on just learn.wordpress.org/nothing, just learn.wordpress.org, there's no comparable menu at the top. There's the Learn WordPress menu doesn't exist. Well, there is a menu, but it's in the black side. It's been in the black bar at the top. And then when you click on a category, so for example, I'm clicking on View All Courses, then that menu appears at the top. So there's sort of different menu layout, isn't there, depending on where you are?
Yeah. So Max Ziebel is saying landing pages learn. Yeah, absolutely, it is. But if, for instance, if I'm here and I want to go back to learn, I guess I can do it from here. Yeah, I can do it from there. But it comes natural to me to go for the logo, and then it doesn't take me there. But anyway, we're looking at browse tutorials, series. So there's, but I don't know if I see it differently based on where I am. I don't think so. This has
No,
to
I'm
be
seeing the
for
same
everyone.
thing.
So blocks editor. So if I look, because also the UX copy is also UX. It's very important. So here, developing for the blocks editor basic tutorial using the block editor. I find, is that clear to you, the differences between these? I'd find it a bit
we can't actually see the
confusing.
menus that you're popping up.
Oh,
Or
can
at
you
least
not? Oh no, of course you're
So
not.
just click on one again. Let me just see. You're clicking on series, right?
Select, yeah.
Sadly, it doesn't appear on the screen. I'm
Ooh,
imagining
sorry.
that's some sort of. No, it's okay. It's a browser. They're probably doing that for a good reason. But yeah, so you've got different options. I'm seeing them.
So there's a series and there's a topic. So if I select block editor, actually full site editing, because I need to learn about it. Language, I'm gonna go to English. Subtitles, I'm gonna go English. WordPress version, I don't care. Apply filters. So
to me, that made sense. I would have been okay with that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And that's the only thing is, and it's hard to comment on because you weren't seeing it, but I found that the topics, I wasn't sure what the difference was between the topics, if I'm being. And we chose full site editing. So using schema, the difference between your display. Let's just open one that I will understand. Building sidebars with a site editor. So no, and then it's a video. Okay, and it's a workshop. Okay, great. Oh, I love take.
Yeah, that's really helpful, right? Look at that, transcripts, everything.
Yeah.
Print
So
view.
I'm wondering whether this workshop was actually one that was done live. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Oh, you don't. You have to sign in. Okay. Anyway, I love quizzes. Well done. Great. Oh, so okay. So this is a bit confusing but we haven't watched the tutorial. So to be fair, that's maybe why. But we've got 33 lessons. Is that about the work? It has to be about that workshop. But the workshop is a short workshop. Does it have 3 lessons on it? So the length is 4 minutes. Do you see what I mean? So we had lots of topics on the quiz. Anyway, so this is great, and it's got, okay. So this is it, I think. So yeah, okay, I got it. This take a quiz, test your knowledge is nothing to do. It's just take a quiz, test your knowledge in general.
Oh, okay.
Do you see
Not
what I
bound
mean?
to that particular piece of content.
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you then go this, take a course or sign in. So this is a bit confusing, to be honest, in that case. Because it's not clear. It's like apropos of nothing, where I would expect that it's about that specific lesson, I think. Yeah. So now to go back to learn. So I am fairly sure that the contrast here is not correct. That it looks like it's. I feel like this blue against the black is way too dark, I think. I may be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. I'd need to check, but I might be wrong.
Yeah,
so
it is a
okay.
curious. It's definitely a curious color combination, isn't it? That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Courtney, is there anything, Courtney and Maya? Because I think I don't know if Maya is also on the team. Maybe not. Courtney, is there anything? Because we probably need to move on, to be fair to the other sides. But is there anything that you would like to ask a question about, or us to look at?
We'll give her a few
If you're
seconds to comment.
if you're still with us,
Yeah, she's
exactly,
still with us. Yeah,
she's still with us.
Got other things to do. I guess the one thing that I would say is that I guess right from the go-get, if you land on the landing page, I don't know if it's a duplication of content, but it does feel like that menu bar at the top should be on the landing page as well as
I think
as on all the sub pages.
Yeah, I agree.
And just a quick one. I don't know if this matters. Let me just quickly inspect it. The label for the form there, the search form right at the top in the blue bar at the top, the label for that is search for. And I'm just wondering if, like for screen readers, it needs to be search for a learning resource or something like that.
It says a search for a learning resource.
No, not as the label. The label just says.
Sorry. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the label says search because there's no label present on the screen, but there is one in the HTML, but it says search for. And I don't know if it needs to be search for a learning resource. That's just one tiny little thing that I thought about. Okay, so Courtney's come back to us. She says, do you see the course section below the fold?
So there's recent courses. Is this what you mean?
There's recent courses, recent
tutorials, and then the events, upcoming online workshops. What I'm not sure about is the difference between course and tutorial. I guess the tutorial is just one short lesson, and the course is more involved and longer, I guess. Is that what you would think, Nathan?
Yeah, Courtney makes the point that she's got courses which are beneath the fold, if you like, and then she's got tutorials as well. But I think she's trying to figure out a way, trying to display the 4 different content types. So journeys, etc., would be great. And I'm guessing the 4 different content types are. Let me just clarify this, Courtney. I'm just clicking on something. It would be tutorials, online workshops, courses, and lesson plans. And it does feel like, you're right, it does feel as if they all need to be given equal weight at the top, not just the tutorials and the lesson plans. And I don't know if the tutorials feels like it's got more weight on that page because it's a little bit higher and the contrast of the color is slightly different from everything else. But I think you could probably put them there in a 4x4, a 1x4 grid. But that's just my quick take on that.
And then there's a moment like now where and then it goes, but there's a moment where the menu at the top just goes white. Don't know why. I can't reproduce it now.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. Yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But anyway, so it's great, and it's so fantastic that there are all these people that contribute their knowledge to get others to learn, because I remember finding it really tough when I started. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I really didn't know about web design. It was great because it made me learn HTML and CSS, and then I was like, right, okay, so maybe now I can understand what PHP is, and I started understanding WordPress also because thanks to the London meetup, which was fantastic. But having had this resource would have been amazing. So huge kudos to the team, Courtney. Thank you all so much for what you do here.
I hope that was of help, Courtney. She said she's enjoyed observing the journey and intentionally didn't sort of prompt us too much. But maybe that highlighted some things. I do like the idea, Courtney, of putting everything front and center at the top. The 4 things all together, the 4 different content types.
Yeah, this would be really helpful, I think, because otherwise it can get confusing as to where you are, because this is effectively a subsite. I mean, it's on a subdomain, so you're on WordPress.org, but you are somewhere else. So if there's only this on the landing page, I mean, this menu on the landing page, then it can be a little bit confusing, because then, as I did earlier, I got to. It makes complete sense. It's not, it's not, but it can be confusing. So I'm really interested in this.
You mentioned something right at the beginning, and I'll just dwell on it briefly. You drew the conclusion picture right at the outset that some was for learners and some was for educators, because you saw the words tutorial, which feels like, okay, I want to learn something. And then you also saw the words lesson plans, which made me feel
like where we are now,
a teacher. Yeah. I wonder if if that might be a journey to go down, trying to figure out who the audience is. Because if you've got tutorials and courses and lesson plans, I don't know if one fits a type of user journey better than another. But yeah. Anyway.
Exactly. I do think that it could be good to actually consider that, see whether it's possible to clarify the user journeys in that way, because they're not so clear here. It's whether maybe that would help.
Okay.
And actually, the lesson plans are really. I'm really interested in the actual lesson plan. So if I were to go to using themes, which is where I was before, how to create a menu with a navigation block. So basically, okay. So this makes it much easier for you to. It's basically instructional design, isn't it, Courtney?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Someone builds this so that it makes it easier to teach a lesson outline, show okay, that's really great.
There's a whole load on there, and I guess it's like any giant website. It's figuring out what that user journey is, because if you've got a million pieces of content, it's very hard to parse that, isn't it? As a first-time user, you come to that site and you're trying to figure out where to get to. The search seems like the quickest way if you've got an intention already. You might very well get there from Google, but if you're a novice like you were, Piccia, it throws up a whole different problem, doesn't it? I don't know what I need to learn. I just want to get started.
Exactly.
And, but
Definitely.
Courtney, I don't know if that was of any help. I hope it was. So yeah, she said yes. Okay, so there's a couple of extra things. She said, I think this is in response to me saying maybe the user journeys and figuring out who's arriving at the site would be useful. Yes, this is for meetup organizers. Okay. This is for meetup organizers to use when presenting topics to their groups. Aha. The bell gets wrong. I understand a bit more now. Thank you. And teachers as well. Okay. Right. And then hello, Tristan Bailey has dropped in quickly and he said, had a task to add different logo for different post types and had to make a bit of an effort. Do you mean a bit of an effort to find it on that site? Tristan, if you know Courtney, then you could have that conversation with her. If you don't, Courtney Robertson, whose name is spelt like that, she's in the chat. You might want to connect with her and I'm sure Courtney will be more than happy to figure out what it is that you need. Oh, great. Okay. So she's saying, thank you very much. It's such a limited time, isn't it? I wish we had more, but we're going to very quickly go to site number 2, are we? I think.
What I would do if I were working on this, I would definitely, I don't know if you do that, Courtney. I would definitely do user journeys, like really use flows to work out what journeys what ideal journeys you would like the user to take, like thinking that's something that you do in UX, just to see and see where the problems arise, because there could be obstacles, there could be friction, that could be, so yeah, that would be a work to do. But anyway,
that was good.
Shall we? Mm-hmm. Shall we actually want to look at? So we've got 2 other sites for
Let's
next
pick one.
time.
I don't think we've got time.
We're gonna look at Lee's, just because it's very soon, the summit.
Let's do it.
It's time sensitive. So okay. Lee, are you there?
Yeah, let's hope so. He's probably cleared off as well. So Lee Jackson dropped into the comments and put his site on. So, and as Piccia knows Lee and I know Lee, and Lee's got an event coming up soon, Piccia's just decided to bump this right to the top. So I don't know if Lee's stuck around or not, but let's go for it anyway. We're going to go for it. He can always watch watch it on YouTube. So look at this beauty. Like I said, this plugin that I use is not necessarily, it's not by no means perfect, nowhere near. But look at this, 0 contrast errors and 0 errors. I bet he wanted to show off a bit. He knew. He knew.
You knew, Lee, didn't you? Yes, I love it. And I'm sure that the structural elements will all be sound. Oh, he's got more than one H1. I know that there are situations. I know that that's possible. You can do that. But if not, don't do that, Lee. No, it's got loads, actually, of H1s.
I wonder if it's like a page
builder.
So
he
default.
Does do a little bit of... No, it's not. You can choose, because he uses...
No, what I mean is I wonder if the default when you chuck in a heading is H1 and, it's easy to forget to swap it back to...
Not H2. When it could be. Just let's say that's the issue.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do that. Yeah.
So anyway, let me turn it off. There you go. So, but again, to me, even though there are 0 issues, to me, this is, I need to make it bigger. And you can say that I'm not your target audience, but I am. All of us are, for the conference, all of us are the target audience. And even a few years ago, I was like this. And anyway, the more I listen to my science vision friend, Vicente, whom I mentioned earlier, the more I learn that really vision issues are not as much Asia related as we think. So also another thing that I want to remind myself to do, and I'm really a bit cross with myself because I didn't do it in a previous review, is that if you think about someone who can't see at all and relies on listening to us, they don't know what we were looking at. So this needs to be described. I need to remind myself and learn to do this. So we're looking at the agency transformation.live page, and it's a home page for a live event. It's got a dark blue navigation bar, and it's got let's say like a big tall strip that's turquoise blue with text on top that says Agency Transformation Live or Rebecca in person, and telling what it is about, with a lighter strip at the bottom with all the details of the conference, the date and so on. And on the right, there's a grid with our awesome speakers, and it's very tidy the way I like it, but I feel like they are very small. Their faces are very small and their names are really small. Anyway, I know that people will keep doing it, whatever I say, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. Oh, so and actually they're clickable. So okay. Nothing changes. So yes, that my tooltip changes, but nothing else changes. So I don't know that. So you need a hover state basically for these images, because otherwise I don't know that they're active. I mean, that the tooltip should tell me, but I wasn't sure. So Paul Lacey is talking. Is he gonna make everybody cry? Yeah. Paul has agreed to make me cry. Were you there? You were there, Nathan,
No,
were you?
I've heard the story a lot though.
Okay.
Bless
So
him.
for bless him. So for those who weren't there at the first agency transformation live in November 2019, Paul took the stage just before me and made everybody cry. So then I got on stage and Lee barely presented. He was like, "Yeah, I don't care." So I got on. It was like, right, no pressure. Then the whole room was in floods of tears, me included. So yeah, it was a hard act to follow. Anyway, it was lovely, and we adore Paul. So that's it. So we're back and in person, November 10th, 11th, 2022, United Kingdom. But where in the United Kingdom? It's a big place. We've got it here. Now, so another thing is, so I love the liveliness of the headings here, they're slightly skewed. They have they're white on strips, colored strips, and they are on a slight slant, which doesn't disturb me at all. Lee, he's gone sadly, but
Yeah, I think he has. I've messaged him on another platform, and we'll see if we can drag him back. But I don't know.
we don't need you, Lee. We don't want you.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just gives it dynamism and interest and fun, and that's good because it's a live event, and it was great fun when we went, and therefore I like this effect. And then it says below, in person WordPress digital agency conference that helps you find clarity, learn, network, and build valuable relationships. Interestingly, there's hardly ever any WordPress related topic, and yet Ali felt it necessary to say WordPress digital agency. Maybe that's because that's his target audience. That's who wants there. If you don't use WordPress, we don't want you there.
Maybe, and also, maybe good for SEO as well, possibly.
Yes,
look at the alignment though.
Conference.
I mean, it's very left. You must be happy there.
I mean,
all
you
left.
know,
You could put a ruler
exactly.
on that website, and everything's bound to the ruler.
Years and years of nagging.
That's right. Finally,
constant nagging. He hasn't even centered the cookie settings. He just hasn't done that, which is great. Anyway, so it should be accept or reject. It shouldn't be cookie settings. This is, strictly speaking, not legal anymore. It has to be as easy to reject as it is to accept. So here, the only thing I would say, so I love this typeface, which is playful but not too much, playful but still serious and quite tacky. So that's really great. The only thing is that to me, this is borderline too long, the line. I don't know how many words it is. There is actually an extension, which I don't think I have available right now, that counts the words. But
yeah.
So here, so basically this is one of the things that plugin that I use, the WebAim plugin, wouldn't pick up on. But you really want your links to be underlined. You basically have to underline your links. And if the link takes you somewhere else, which this one does, you need to put there's an area, little snippets of code that that
Yeah, it
shows
sort of
that
shows
it basically
visually
says
you're going
open.
elsewhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it says, and in the code it says opens in a new window, which you're telling, because I hate it when a link opens in the same window, especially if I'm reading an article. I hate it, but it can be confusing for other people who use the web differently, or for people who use a screen reader that find themselves somewhere else and they didn't know. So you need to tell. You can do it, and I do it unashamedly, but you need to tell them. And visually, it's like a little icon,
Yeah.
and in the code it says opens in a new window.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
one thing that I would say, I would say borderline too long, but also I would say, where's my call to action? Why don't I have a call to action here, Lee? I don't think it should be here. Also, again, you need a hover state. Oh, yeah, but let's say again, it needs to be underlined and it needs to have a hover state. So this is not underlined or something like that, and it's not a hover state, because if you can't see colors clearly, you're not going to know. How do you know that this is a link? You just don't know. So
Do you feel the
need
same about the button at the top, the grab your ticket button? There's seemingly there's no hover state on that. I don't think.
No, it needs to be clear that it's a link.
Okay.
Also, I would recommend something else, which is, again, hover state here, because otherwise I don't know. But if you say get your ticket, don't say grab yours here. Use exactly the same language, because I know we're all trying to be interesting, but it doesn't help online. Funny enough, people want as simple as possible. They don't want creativity. Grab yours here. People want know what you mean. They mean you need to say get your ticket here, because it's what you said here. It needs to be very consistent. So I don't know why the call to action isn't here. There's no call to action above the fold, which I would recommend testing. See what happens. I don't know where you are with the entradas, Lee, with the tickets. If you're so grab your ticket. Again, grab or buy, grab or get
Yeah,
or buy.
we've
So
got
now
get
we've
and
got
grab, two different. Yeah.
and buy.
Oh,
You know what
okay.
I mean?
Okay. Yep.
So, and it is, but can I just say it's super cheap for what it is. If there's anyone here watching from England, the UK, sorry, watching from the UK, go, because also it's sort of conveniently in the middle. It's quite easy to get to from London. So if you go from Wales, for instance, I think you can sort of cut through. Yeah, Graben. He is.
He's back.
Here
But
he
the man
is.
is back.
He is back. The man is back. So
He
right now,
says, I can fix
so
that. Appreciate that. Okay, thanks. Yeah, there's a couple.
so
I don't know if you dropped out, Lee, but
like,
there's a
I
couple of
haven't finished. I
maybe
was
5
doing
minutes before this. Yeah.
yeah 5 minutes because we started late. So we're only going to do 2. We can't do more because that one was really. He was doing his own stream. How dare you? At the same time, man. Anyway, I was saying.
Put it down, Lee. For goodness sake.
I know exactly. A lack of respect.
Oh,
So I was saying, though, let me finish the plug. I was saying I cannot go because, humble brag, I'm going to be speaking at a conference in Vilnius.
Oh, very nice.
Well, I am. Literally, I am on the 11th.
Oh.
But it's a shame. I really regret that the dates coincide, because it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful little conference. It's probably the best conference you'll ever go to, because it's not a conference. It's people doing stuff together. I think this year is mostly workshops. Isn't I think? So if I would say register as well. So we got register, grab, buy, and get. Make
and
your
register.
mind up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4. So I really, really recommend it so highly. If I didn't know, Talks Day 1 and Mastermind Day 2 were awesome. Anyway, it's still the Mastermind is where you get to do stuff together. And I didn't stay for the Mastermind last time, and I regret it, because apparently people formed groups during the Mastermind that to this day keep going. They meet up every week or every month, I don't know, and it's lifelong friendships that are formed. So go. Yeah. So what happens if I click on buy now? So yeah, Lee, UX writing is really important, and consistency is key, because we think we need to be creative. That's what we're taught at school, not online. So if I click on buy now, what happens? Very simple. That's what you get. And the mastermind is a steal at just 50 quid more. Just do it, do it, do it. I know of, working relationships that were formed, all of that.
A couple of things, Lee, from my perspective,
Ooh,
nothing to do with the UI and UX. I'm just curious to know how. I've noticed, I've just been poking around and noticed that you're using Bricks, which is a reasonably new WordPress page builder. Just interested to know how that's worked out. Obviously, you like it because you're using it. But,
I don't. Yeah. I'm not an affiliate. No, it's not a paid promotion. I got nothing out of it.
No, that's right. Yeah, you can exchange money after the live is over.
No way. Never.
Okay. Are we done there? Do you think you've said enough, or is there more that you wanted to cover?
So again, I just want to say that this is a link, and again, it's a different color. It's because it was pink and now it's blue, and it's not underlined. So do that. Bricks is amazing and super fast. Love it.
All right.
So, okay, interesting. Because we're talking to a Beaver Builder person.
Former, by the looks of it.
Sounds like former.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It's a theme, so it's not a plugin. So
right.
It's kind of a different approach, but it seems to be
okay. So
seems to be gaining a lot of popularity. I mean, plugins and themes in what they can do are broadly similar. Just mostly plugins do stuff to do with content, and themes do the style. But this kind of does a bit of both, really. Yeah.
So can you use BB with Beaver Builder with theme with Bricks?
Yeah, so Beaver Builder you can use with any theme. Bricks you can't use it with another theme because it is a theme. But
it is a theme. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a slightly different approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, he says no, BB for life, able to use on other things too. Okay.
We'll allow you. We'll let you. Yeah.
Right, the clock, I'm afraid, has ticked past the hour. Do you feel that you've done this site justice, Piccia, or is there a couple more things you wanted to just prod at?
It's a really nice site, mate. It's really
Thanks.
nice.
We actually
hadn't gone further down. Good idea. I really love the look. Very clever boy.
What's that?
So in 2019, because this was the 2019 version. So he got people, he basically cornered people and got them to do a review as they were there. Look, agency trailblazers. So they were captive.
Yeah,
they couldn't say no.
That's right.
And they couldn't possibly say, sorry, mate, this is shit, because he was there.
You can do it all with AI now. So you don't even need them.
But I'm a bit disturbed. I want a ninth one here.
Oh, yeah. How many have you got there? 3, 6. I was 8. 8 goes 8. 2 and 4. Yeah, or 4 and 2. I know what you're saying. Yeah, there's something about the
this is just a joke.
Please, doing your head in.
We don't really care. But anyway, yeah. So here
we
go.
I think we're done. We're gonna have to knock it on the head. Piccia will be back hopefully next month, unless I decide to go somewhere, which seems
unless you go gallivanting around the world.
Look, he's seen it now. He says, "Look, I only have 8." No. It's been great this week because on both of the presentations, the person actually with the site showed up, which is really cool. So
yeah.
Right, let's knock it on the head. Thanks, Piccia. We'll be back next month, and
thank you, Nathan.
I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, take it easy. See you soon.